YouTube, what's happening? Your boy, we back at it, still working hard. Like I say, the goal is to get the block done, at least the short block done, before the week gets out. Now, I am going to do a little more talking in this. I do apologize for those who think that, I do need to have better quality videos so I can show y'all everything that I do with this build. And I agree, and hopefully soon I can get the better camera equipment, computers, and all that to be able to, give you guys some real good shots. But like I say, this is just an engine that will be going into the white car. So it's really no big deal because I will still build a 4-valve, 4.6 liter to go in the black beast, right here. That is basically all stripped down right now. So the focus right quick is on the white car so I can bring you a project to show you some of my skills. So I want to explain to you a couple mistakes that you may come by when working with one of these motors. And I did, like I say, clean the bores out. So there they have the hone. I don't know if you can see the marks in there. Where they do have the hash marks in there, you can see them. Cylinders are all clean. There's no rust or nothing in them. But I will say this, be careful with your torque specs. This book, let me show you. This book is useful. However, it will be a little different in some of the torque numbers. They're very close, but if you get the Ford Crown Victoria manual, it will tell you some of the same specs. I did go out of the Ford manual versus going completely out of that. So you have to be careful. Like I say, you need a torque wrench and everything, inch, pound, foot pounds. And one of the mistakes I made was with the jack screws that is in between. Let me show you. The jack screws are those. You have to be careful when you torque those. You have to make sure you read. And like I say, make sure you get an inch pounds and a foot pound torque wrench because you want to make sure that everything is torqued. That way, if something goes wrong, you know that you torqued it down properly. And that's one of the mistakes I made. And I will tell you guys and caution you guys about making sure you torque things down properly. I did get the MMR bolts all in there. Everything's good. I'm very proud of the progress that I made so far. So that is all set right now. What I plan to do is I'm going to spray it down one more time, even though I, feel I've been keeping it very clean. And basically, I'm getting ready to hang the pistons. As you can see, the rings and everything are on there already. I do have, let me make sure I don't drop it out. The pins are temporarily put in. And basically what you do is when you get one of these rods, it has a chamfer. These are Molinar billet rods. Like I say, these things will handle more than probably most of whatever put on them. You have your pin and everything in there. And basically, this chamfer must line up. Let me show you. It must line up to the side of this chamfer on the crank. You have it other way, you're going to have issues. And the pistons come with a dot, which I made sure it matched up to the cylinder head, exhaust valves and everything to make sure I had it properly. But this chamfer will start. This is where we started. And it will line up right in there. And that's what you want. And I'm about to go hang them. The rings and everything is on there. The rings are, like I say, Molle rings. They were actually very close in specs to what I needed. So I'm not going to open them up or show that, anything about those getting gapped. The gap is right around 14 thou for the first, and then the second one comes in at 15 thou. So those are the minimum clearance that the manufacturer recommend. So what I'm about to go do is go in the house and come out tomorrow, because like I say, I didn't want to overwhelm myself and do too much and make a mistake, which I did, but I have corrected it since then. Like I say, the crank turns, free as you can get. Like I expressed the other day, the lube on there is super thick and it's cold here in Michigan. It's about 20 degrees. So that lube will feel like so stiff to turn, but it does turn freely with no abnormal grinding. So right now I'm about to go in the house and finish hanging the rest of these pistons. Basically, we're in the basement. This is how I have everything set up so I can explain to you basically how the process goes, since I can't physically assemble them and show you. I can explain them to you. And basically, like I was stating, this piston, the pin on this side, the pin on that side, I will eventually put in these C-clips right here, and it will basically go in there and lock the piston in. That way the pin is in there, the piston won't move. And like I say, this is the assembly lube, the Klebite. It is very gummy, sticky stuff. And you will always want to put some lube on the actual pin before you slide it into the hole. I was just kind of trying to show you that as an example. So I have everything here. Everything has been washed. Once again, as you can see, it's clean, nice little clean box. I got a little cloth at the bottom. You can use some old clothes, old rags, whatever. And like I expressed, you will need a torque angle gauge to do the rods for sure. So yeah, I'm going to get these all assembled. You're going to need 4 sets with the dot facing forward and the chamfer. So right here you would need 4 sets to make 4 sets with this. You can see the deep valve relief. This is the intake valve relief, and this is the exhaust, and this points to the front of the engine. And basically you have the rod with the name on it will face the front, that if you get the Molinar, with the chamfer. And as I stated, with the other side, you will get just the opposite. You have the intake valve, exhaust valve, arrow forward, but the chamfer is on the side right here, and the logo is right there. So that's basically me trying to explain to you everything. And like I say, this rotating assembly right here is good for no less than 700 horsepower. I don't care what anyone says to you. If you put a blower on here, 700 horsepower, and if you're brave, you probably can go to 800, because that stock crank is amazing. So like I say, this is probably good for somewhere between 700 wheel horsepower and 750 guaranteed. Because everybody who tells you it don't, they're going to say, oh, that crank won't handle a lot by this $1 billion forged crank. So let me let you know that. So beware for that. Use that stock crank if you can. If you want to go to extreme, let's say well over 800 forged crank, go ahead. Why not? If you're under 800, go with that stock cast crank, forged pistons, set of forged rods, your own. So tomorrow, sorry babbling, like I say, I can't show you the full assembly, but I will get these all assembled, and I will get back to you installing the pistons and rods into the block. Thanks, YouTube. Shout out to everybody. Stick with me. We coming.